Okay. I'm gonna go. Get this stuff ready. Pop out that chat. See the chat there. I should put it here. Okay. Jeepers. Okay. Ooh, it's a squeaky chair. This paint, if anybody watches this, is it'll be like 22 years old. That's crazy. It's from college. I think. Maybe not. I might have bought it after college. I don't see a date on here anywhere. Just getting my palette set up here, so bear with me. Oop, that's a lot of black. I'm not going to need that much black. Yeah, I'm going to need more white though. Is that white coming out with yellow in it? Okay. Let's dive in. I should brighten this a little bit. Nope, not that. All right, let's see where to start today. I think I might get the, I might start with this background area. Just get the tone that I want back there, because it's not near as light as I would like it to be at this point. Tree X. Thanks. If you can do me a favor, I'm still working out the technical bugs of everything. If you can do me a favor and just type in the chat that you can hear me there, I would appreciate it. It'd set my mind at ease. It should be working because I was testing my tech ahead of time and it was working. Great, that's awesome, thanks. I don't know how much of a delay you're getting. It should probably be about 20 seconds. I don't know. How's it going today? I'm going to be working on this for, so far so good, that's awesome. I'm going to be working on this for a few hours, so you don't need to stick around if you don't want to for the whole time, obviously, but you can feel free to kind of pop back in if you like. I'm not sure how much progress I'm going to make today. Kind of hoping to probably what my plan of attack is going to be is to get his face to a spot where I'm happy with it, and then that'll give me confidence just to kind of like finish things off with his costume and everything. So if the face isn't working, then nothing's good. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for trying to wrangle a few more people. I know my schedule is like super out of whack. I apologize. I had said I was going to be doing this from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. But I live out in the country, as I think I mentioned to you guys before. My internet is super sketchy. And at that time over here, it'll be like right after supper. And my kids will be busy on the internet. My wife will be busy on the internet. And I don't trust that it's actually going to work very well to stream. I don't know what the feed is looking like right now, if it's a little blurry or not. I tried to optimize my settings as best I could, but hey, Skeeterish. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, definitely tune in and out as you see fit. I'm going to be here for a bit, so I appreciate you stopping in for a bit here. It's awesome. Great, I'm glad this stream is smooth. Thank you for telling me that. Gives me some hope that it's not bunk, at least. It's all new to me here, just trying to figure it out, so. Oh, nice. Inktober's a good thing to take part in, for sure. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, Triax. That's cool if you guys are going to work on something while I'm working too. That'd be awesome. I had thought about trying to figure out voice comms for these live streams. I just don't know how that works from like a live stream experience. I could do like a Discord chat, but I just don't know how that then affects the viewer's experience, because I don't know if I can stream the Discord audio into the YouTubes. And I think it would be weird if I was sitting here talking to people that are watching couldn't hear. I did take part in Inktober a few times. The last time I did it was for, I did like a whole like giant drawing. It was like a 7 foot or about 7 feet, just over 6 feet tall drawing. And I did like, I broke it down into like 31 or 30, I think it was 30. I don't remember. 30 cubes, I think. So I basically did like 1 7-inch by 7-inch area per day on this large ink drawing, which is kind of fun. It was a battle scene from Possum Awesome and the Tome of Tomorrows, which is the graphic novel that I'm trying. It's a book that I've been working on, a novel, and I've been trying to adapt it into a graphic novel. Yeah, it took a long time. Well, I mean, obviously, it took me all month, but it was like, it was a lot of work. I'm happy with how it turned out. Kind of a fun process for sure. All right, I'm going to dive into his face here. I feel like that tone is good enough now. Well, you know what? It's a good, Inktober's a good challenge. It's going to keep you, going to give you something to do on a regular basis for sure. If you're going to do it consistently. Well, my problem is I keep getting extra colors in this background the whole time I've been working on this thing. I don't know what the heck. I wish you luck with your Inktober endeavors. It's fun. It's a fun process, and I feel like it's a good way to just stay motivated and learn. Yeah, you will learn a lot as you go, for sure. It's a worthy artistic endeavor. No doubt about it. Okay, let's see here. I feel like when I was working on this last time, I mucked up the shape of his face a little bit. Hey, Andrew. I can't imagine how much work goes into creating an album. It's crazy. That's not right. Okay, I get these tones right here. I hope it turns out well, Andrew. It's been a challenge so far. I'll get it figured out. Ooh, that's too dark. Just notice my face is cut off in my FaceTime there. I don't know, the FaceTime camera. Alright. This is so interesting. I've gotten so used to the digital tool sets of Procreate that and in that program I'm mostly using oil style brushes, which have a lot more like blending properties than these acrylic paints do. These are drying really fast. Challenges. The challenges to painting a person with darker skin, the only challenge really for me is that and maybe it's a benefit in some ways, I'm not as familiar with the nuances of the skin tone. And so some of the subtleties are a little bit foreign to me, but on one hand, that forces me to really look at what I'm painting and not just make it up in my head. So that's maybe a benefit as well as a challenge. Because sometimes I know, like in general with drawing faces and in general, typically when people are drawing faces, we often draw what we think a face looks like because we're familiar with it, and we kind of make these assumptions as to what a face looks like, which is oftentimes why you'll see stuff like eyes too high on a head on a face, or like a nose that's too far from the mouth, different things like that, because we're going based off of assumptions and not off of seeing. So it's not uncommon to see stuff like that, mistakes like that, particularly with novice portraiture, when you're just trying to get things figured out. It can happen quite easy. And even for myself, if I'm trying to draw a face from my head without photo reference, if I'm not careful, I have these strange sort of like tendencies in my portraiture to do some weird things with the structure of the face, my own personal appearance. Oh, it's squeaky. Sorry about the squeaking here. Oh, hopefully I didn't lose you guys there. My stream looked like it jittered there for a sec. Skeeterish, if you want to get good at, better at proportions, I can recommend a couple really good books. There's a book called Figure Drawing, Design and Invention. It is by, let me just find it here. Figure Drawing, Design and Invention. This is one of my favorite books. I love it, by Michael Hampton. Really good book. It does the whole figure, but there's a really good section in there on drawing faces and sort of the basics of structuring the face. So if you're interested, that's a really good book to pick up. And of course, like I said, I don't know if you on my live stream at SpoilerCon, I was talking about a basics of portraiture book that I have put together as well, which you can access somewhere. I think you can get it through my website. You know what? I don't know. It's on Gumroad. If you went to Gumroad and did a Google search for Corey Lansdell portraiture book or basics of portraiture, I'm sure it would come up on there. That's terrible. I should know these things, but I just put it up like, I don't know, last year or a year and a half ago or something, and just kind of left it there. And I haven't really been like tending to that. So but that book by Michael Hampton is awesome. Really, really good. Also studying thanks for shouting me out on Twitter there, Andrel. Also studying the works of Loomis. Loomis was really good. He did a bunch of like long time ago, he did a bunch of like informative books and information about portraiture. And Bridgman is really good too. Bridgman's, a lot of contemporary portrait artists pull from those two. So stuff that you'll see that's contemporary will oftentimes be derivative of those teachings. Having a hard time getting these highlights where I want them to be. I don't know if it's my, like, I don't know if the dark colors are too light. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my darks aren't dark enough, so then the lights aren't popping. It could also just be some of these paints that I'm using are like older than I am. No, that's not true. They're old. In paint years, they're older than I am. It's like dog years. Maybe. I feel like the highlights that I'm trying to put on here aren't not jumping off the paper like I'd like them to. Not yet. We'll get there. Yeah, it's acrylics. Tree X, it's acrylics. I've only ever worked in acrylics. I've never worked like in terms of traditional medium. I've never worked in oil paints. I shouldn't say that. I did one class when I was like 11 in oil paints, and I tried to paint a dragon, and it turned into like mud on my canvas. It was terrible. I'd like to try oil paints. I really would. I think, like I said, the stuff that I've been doing digitally, I feel like mimics oil paints more than acrylics, and kind of feel like maybe I'd be at a stage now where I might be comfortable using them after a bit of use. A paint by number. Well, hey, you know what? It gets you. It's an easy way to kind of dive in and get a little bit of familiarity with the medium. Nothing wrong with that. Little kind of like low barrier, skill barrier to dive in and just get your feet wet. No shame. Gotta get these, his nose is tricky because the bridge of his nose is kind of this, it's a little bit soft. There's not a lot of like intense shadow and angles on there because it's kind of a smooth curves across the bridge of his nose, which it's quite beautiful, but it makes it a little challenging. Just from a rendering perspective, because I don't have as much to. It's harder. It's just got it's got to be soft, right? And I just feel like that's a little bit more challenging to get a handle on. I think that's one of the reasons why, I've kind of always had a little bit of a hard time painting women, honestly, which is why you'll notice quite a few of my pieces are of men. It's a bit of more of a comfort zone for me, maybe because I'm a man and I look at my face in the mirror and stuff. I'm just more comfortable with that. I have a hard time getting the smoothness of a female, softness of the forms in the female face. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge for me historically, but it's something I'm working on. And so been doing a little more, especially with the Wheel of Time stuff, working on pieces like Moraine and Nynaeve and Egwene and stuff. Have been just really awesome exercises for me. It's really dark down there. It's got to be a little darker there. Can't tell what colors are in there. I have to go over dark colors a few times with lighter paints to really make it pop. Yeah. You're probably right. Once the acrylics my darks are sort of set, and I can go back in with a little precision highlighting to get that stuff to kind of pop. You're probably on the money. The money! Flattening his eye shape a bit too much there. His eyes don't quite squint so much. Oh, jeepers. Dang. Just got acrylic paint on my pants. That's always a good idea. Don't mind me while I scrub the purple paint off my gray pants for a second. This is why I can't have nice things, everybody. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a little bit. This is why I can't have nice things and my kids. What are good pants if they don't have a little bit of paint on? Gosh. I try not to spend a lot of money on clothes because of stuff like this. As you can see. Old sweater. Oh gosh, okay. I'm alright. It's okay. There, that was your action sequence for the day. I'm gonna have to come back in here and darken the whites of his eyes later on. But I just feel like I need to push this a little bit because I've kind of, his iris has kind of started to take over the volume of his eye. Come back in there with some darks to even all that out at some point. Yeah, I should be working in like with my non quote unquote nice pants on, and I'm using paints. But I figured because I'm sitting down, it wouldn't happen. But I guess I feel like at the scale of this painting, Tree X, if I'm getting paint all over myself, I'm actually doing it wrong. Because if I was working like really large, I would expect myself to be covered in paint. But since I'm working so small, it just means that I fumbled. Fumbly fingers. Okay, that's going to be all sort of purpley over there. I've sort of, in my mock-up, I've got these two sort of variant light sources. On the right-hand side is kind of a warmer yellow light coming across. And then on the, and I guess from the right / above him is kind of yellow light. And then from this side, I've got this purple light coming in, which I'm trying to be cognizant of as I'm working. You're nodding contemplatively. Well, hey, I wouldn't know, but that's awesome. I'm glad that there's something to contemplate in the things I'm saying. Funny. So you might think I'm crazy putting these heavy reds in here. They're not gonna stay, but I think it's gonna help a little bit with the hue of stuff right now. It's feeling a little bit muted, too muted for me, for my liking. Kind of want things to be a little more alive here, so I'm gonna go in and just throw in some reds and then work against those. So once I start pushing back in over top of them, having them underneath there will be, I think, nice. Maybe come in with a heavier brush here. Speed this up a bit. Woo! I just got hungry. I haven't eaten lunch yet. My stomach's reminding me. Shut up, stomach. I wanted to do this. I'll get you after. nose is out of whack here. I gotta fix his nose up. My drawing was really solid, and I used a grid. I gridded out my subject, and then I used that grid on my paper to structure the drawing. And I felt really confident with it. But now my grid lines are gone, and as I'm painting, that's going to start to morph a little bit. So I want to really try to stay true to what I had, because I feel like it was quite accurate. I don't want to lose the likeness of the actor in the process, which is a real risk for sure. So it's probably going to mean that I might have to do some manual measuring as I go along here. Just kind of reevaluating what's what, and then I might have to just do some measuring over top of the drawing source and my drawing with my brush and stuff at some point, to help me just make sure that I'm not deviating super far. So I feel like those reds are a little nice, a little bit nice. I'm happy with those. Now, go in here, just push this a little bit again. The cheek is going to be more of a yellow. How much yellow? So I had a crazy idea, because I have nothing else to do. I've been thinking about oh, sorry, I just saw some questions come in. Hey, Delusions of Grendel, welcome. Nice to see you. Okay, so Skeeterish, you're asking me, so when I go this deep, do you often go back to your source, or does it depend on how things are going together? I mean, I'm like, so right now I'm always kind of referencing back to my source material. Right now I'm looking at it and just trying to get like I've got this is my mock-up that I did digitally. I think I showed this to you on the guys on the live stream. And this is like, you know, pretty much finished. It's like a finished, I mean, obviously I haven't painted this. This isn't finished. It's a really clean mock-up. So I'm trying to, and I've got my colors kind of mapped in here in terms of just the color tones, and then what the photograph is offering me as well. And I am literally trying to match what is in that photo. Right now it's not super feeling it. I think my colors are off. And I could be struggling against my color palette, to be honest. I pulled some colors together that I thought would be nice with each other, but they might not be working in relationship to my mock-up, in which case I probably would default to just sticking with my colors that I've pulled together, and then kind of divorcing myself from what I'm seeing a little bit in in the mock-up. The main important thing would be getting across tone and structure at that point. If I'm deviating from color a little bit, the structure and values have to be like spot on. They got to be like exact so that the piece reads as the individual that I'm painting, if that makes sense. So what I was saying about my crazy idea, I had this crazy idea, which I might pursue it. I got, like I've mentioned before, I've got a couple of novels that I've kind of been working on over the years. One of them I'm adapting currently to a graphic novel. But the other one is going to continue to be a novel. I wrote a short story in that story universe featuring the main character and a scenario that might become the prologue for the story, potentially. I don't know. But I had this thought it might be really fun to polish up that document. Right now it's still in like first draft stage, first and a half draft stage, I guess. But I was thinking I might take that short story, polish it up, and then I was thinking about recording it, doing a voice recording like an audiobook, and then posting it through my Patreon for patrons. I thought it might be kind of fun. It might be a fun exercise for me, maybe familiarize me a little bit more with the world and the character, and even just like reveal some of my holes in the story and the character and my dialogue and everything. So I think I might do that at some point. It's just something I've been kind of contemplating. It'd be kind of a fun exercise, I think. And maybe I kind of got thinking about it just because of listening to Michael and Kate at SpoilerCon. It was super cool. So how are you doing, Delusions of Grendel? How's it going? I hope you're doing well. It's nice that you guys are stopping in. It's fun. Appreciate it. So these need to pop those highlights. Right. Okay. Get this part here. Brush control. Cool. Well, that's cool. Congrats on the big W. And it's fun. It's fun that, like, what a world we live in, hey, where we can literally not be anywhere near each other, but essentially in the same room. With the technology. It's cool. Yeah, Michael and Kate, they're freaking awesome. I got so emotional during that reading. I think it's just because I don't know. Yeah. They've really, they've read me a lot of books. They do a tremendous job. Yeah, it's actually quite beautiful around here right now. The downside is that today's a bit windy and the leaves are getting a little fragile, so a lot of them are kind of they're flying off the trees today pretty quick, which that's always tough. It's the start of the long grayness here up north in our Edmonton area. But it has been really pretty. I love the fall. It's gorgeous. It's like one of my favorite times of year. I wish it was longer. It goes by so fast. Yeah, I am a bit of a dork. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It could be snowing, and that's not favorable. I mean, I'm holding out hope that we get a long, nice fall. I would love it if we made it into November without snow. I'd be 100% okay with that. Where are you at, Grandal? Where do you live? Apologize if we've already had this conversation. I'm not very good at remembering stuff. Yeah, Halloween without snow would be nice. Agreed. Oh, you're in Calgary, right? Okay. Yeah, Calgary's gorgeous too. I mean, it's probably similar down there to what it's like here, right? One of the things I noticed about Calgary is like, you guys get like the nice warm, you get the warm, like spring, like feels like spring comes faster. Or you even get like, feel like you get more Chinooks and kind of like warm weather that sort of dissipates the long dark of the winter. Oh, we have a better winter, hey? Or better fall. Interesting. I always imagine it would just be gorgeous down there, but maybe it's just dry. Hailstorm in Ontario, crazy. Ontario gets nice. You guys get nice weather too, hey? Like I feel like Ontario's falls are quite long. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my head, I always imagine like just beautiful leaves for a long time. So you guys can see, like, I've been drawing this eye for a while now. I'm honestly struggling. I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time with this. Let me get these colors right. I want to get the colors right. I gotta let go a little bit, I think. I think I need to let go. Stop fighting with it, just let it be. I'm trying to get some of this golden brown. So, question for you chatters, chat. If you were, maybe this is like too broad of a question, if you were to be a hunter for the horn, not a hunter for the horn, a hero called by the horn, who would you be and why? Hey DT. You're not too late. Sorry about the random timing on everything. So I don't know if you heard it or not, DT, but I was just asking chat if they were to be a hero called by the horn, who would they be and why? I'm curious. I feel like, for me, I kind of feel like Guidal Kane appeals to me, and maybe it's because of the love affair that he has. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I know. Guidal, right? It's funny. I don't know enough of them either. Jane Farstrider, right? I think was one. No? Artur Hawkwing, Brigitte. Yeah. I don't know them all either. I should maybe put like next time I do a live stream, I should fish out a list of heroes of legend and have a conversation about them. Rogosh Eagle Eye. Oh, that's a good pull. That's a good pull. Yeah, I'm super curious about I gotta do a little bit of research on that because I don't know a lot of them, and I don't even know kind of what they're about for the most part, besides the main ones. But Guidal Kane's and Brigitte's kind of recurrent love affair is like, I don't know, there's something romantic about it that appeals to me. It's kind of cool. Thanks, DT. I am at a stage right now where I'm kind of freaking out. I'm not gonna lie. This happens to me, I think, with every piece. This is about the stage where it happens, where I start to think, what am I doing? And I kind of lose all confidence in my ability. But I've been doing this long enough to know that that's okay. It's part of the process. And if I just keep working on it and keep pushing through, I'll get to a point where things start to feel better, and then I'll feel more confident in pushing forward to the end. But right now it's a little bit of a I feel that it's a bit of a cuss right now. Just this is the hard, one of the hard stages for me. Otaran. Oh gosh, I don't remember who Otaran is. It's funny. I'm probably the wrong person to be asking people to tell me who they would be and why, because I'm so bad with trivia and stuff like that, as evidenced by our trivia this last weekend at the conference. But So Otaran. Who was Otaran? Where is he from? Do you know? Who is it? He, she. I don't even know that. Big shrug. All right, awesome. So I wasn't even sure if this live stream was going to end up working today. My wife and I were, during the conference this weekend, my wife was outside like super busy doing stuff around our property. And I forgot to tell her that I had put our internet line in the ground. We had recently had our internet moved because the tower wasn't reaching our little radar dish very well, and she cut the line with the tractor. And so this morning the internet people came and they reconnected the internet, thankfully. So that's why this is all working out here. It was funny. She felt so bad, but it totally wasn't her fault. I never communicated to her what was going on with that. And she was out, like I knew she was out there doing stuff, and it didn't clue into me that, oh yeah, that's where the internet line is and she's got the tractor out there. But I was able to, on the weekend, I just hotspotted to my phone in order to do my live stream and stuff on the weekend, which, gosh, I'm glad that worked out. It worked well. Did you guys catch my whole live stream at the con? I know there was like overlapping stuff. DTU probably didn't, because I think trivia was going on during my live stream too. Like I know there was a lot of different things happening. Cat. I'm going to show you guys my cat. Come here, cat. Hey. Uh-oh, my phone's ringing. Decline. This is Thomas, the cat. Say hi, Thomas. He's funny because he's a big tomcat. He was like a stray on our property, and we brought him in last year after our other cat passed away, a year and a half ago. He's a really sweet boy, but you can tell he doesn't like this. He's so funny because he doesn't like cuddling. Well, I guess he's a cat. He doesn't like cuddling if it's not on his own terms. But in the mornings, he like is super cuddly and cute. He's a good boy. Hey, Nerdy. Nerdy kitty. Nerdy kitty likes kitties. Nerdy nitty. I just took the N out because I thought it was like kind of funny. How are ya? Thanks for joining me for a little bit and spending some time with me today, Nerdy. I have not painted a picture of Thomas the cat. He's not yet earned his place in family art. Should be. Work is always there. Nerdy. I should be working too. Technically, this is like the middle of my work day. Don't tell my business partner. Just kidding. He knows that I'm going to be doing this at some point today. I'll have to make up some ground tonight to make up for this time. But yeah, I wasn't confident in like I said, I wasn't confident in the capacity of my internet connection out here. So with everybody else home. So I thought it'd be better to do it when everybody's gone. Might need to go to the art store at some point and get myself some new brushes. I've got like a bunch of old brushes from when I was in college. But they're like really not great. Like this one, for example. The bristles are kind of out of whack. And so I end up, like, I've been kind of using these. Most of the brushes that I've been using are actually watercolor brushes, which kind of work nice for some of the soft feathery stuff. But when I try to do any of the harder, like heavier work, they don't have enough tooth to them. It's kind of a challenge. So I think I might need to pick up just a couple. Brushes are expensive, but like this is a proper paintbrush. Well, whatever, watercolors paints too, but proper acrylic brush. What is it, Thomas? Don't bug me. Probably want to go outside, don't you? Want to go outside? Want to go outside, Tommy? I'm gonna have to take just a quick break here and put him outside. He's funny because, like, I think because he was a stray for a while. He was living on our property for a while, just as he came as a stray and then just kind of made residence in one of our outbuildings, and then we were feeding him and stuff and taking care of him. But I think he lived the stray life for quite a while, and I think he still kind of likes that. He likes to go outside to do his business, and he'll go outside for large parts of the day and just run around and hunt and do things outside. It's not a typical house cat. We found out over Christmas that he's got a heart murmur, a pretty significant one. So he's kind of could hit the road in a proverbial sense at any given time. Apparently, if he overexerts himself or something, he could have a heart attack. So I don't anticipate that he'll be a long-lived cat. Who knows how many times he's used lives just from heart murmur stuff. He maybe has already burned through 7 lives just from recovering from heart attacks. Lived to 14 with a heart murmur. Yeah, I mean our other cat did too. She was 17. But apparently his is pretty extreme. I don't know. The vet was saying, "Whoa, he's got a pretty bad heart murmur." So this is I'm starting to kind of enjoy what's happening here. I just needed to give it some time. Some nice layering of colors and stuff happening. Skeeterish has a question. I'm curious how much of this painting over dry paints versus blending with what's already there. It's some of both, but with acrylics, mostly you're doing working over dry paints because it dries so quick. So you kind of are I kind of mix my colors and stuff on my palette, and then I'll throw the color down, and then I'll mix another color and then throw it over top, because your dry time is so quick. You can't really. There are extenders that you can get for acrylic paints that increase your dry time so that you can kind of treat them more like an oil-based paint. I've never used them, so I can't say if that would be. It probably would be kind of fun, but there's acrylics are kind of interesting, right? There's you sort of have to let the colors overlap and chunk into each other a little bit more. You can also do just a lot of glazing, so you can kind of, and I've never tried painting this way, but I could essentially do a black and white painting and then do glazes over top. Yeah, like you said, Triex. I could do just wash glazes over top, which it happens a little bit in the way that I work. There is a little bit of glazing going on, but I tend to my tendency, which is similar to my tendency with drawing. I'm a little heavy-handed with my artwork, and I will I kind of go a little heavy with stuff, and so for me it's a little bit more of slapping colors over top of each other, and that's kind of just the way that I've always worked. But you can do both with acrylics. You can approach it from both ways. Blending tons of layers of glazing. I guess there is a little bit. There is glazing going on in my stuff too. I think it just kind of happens, right? Because you mix the paints with the water, and then depending how thick you mix them, they will either go down as a glaze effect or as a solid block of color, chunky. I feel like acrylics are inherently kind of chunky. least the way that I work with them. There's probably people that are far more skilled than me that work with them in different ways, but this has been my experience. So yeah. I don't. It's kind of interesting. So as I've been working recently with my with these acrylic pieces, these few that I've kind of been diving back into, I actually don't. I kind of mix on the fly, because I kind of bounce around a lot, and I tend to, like for example, this. I didn't have this color on my palette just a second ago. I was like, oh, you know what? I want a little bit of a darker browny purple for this area. So I just mixed it, and then I'll just drop it in here and there. And I tend to kind of bounce around too because I sort of want all the colors to be relevant to the piece. So if I mix a dark color, I'm probably gonna hit the dark areas with that color in some measure, because then it's going to be consistent across the piece. It is, yeah. Everybody kind of develops your own little sort of nuances to working, right? It's the thing. There is kind of no one right way, really. There's definitely like recommended techniques, I guess, probably. But I think everybody sort of adapts to their tendencies over time, and then those become your norm. All right. I might need to. Okay, Thomas, I hear you. What? Hi. I'll let you out. Guys, I'm just gonna go let my cat outside. I'll be back on a sec. Come on then. He's a good communicator. Let's see here. What next? I think I should do some work on this side. Try to get this area a little more resolved around his eyes. If I can get the eyes, that's like huge. Because it'll a lot of the likeness is driven, especially because he's looking directly at the at the viewer. Oh gee. I'm gonna get that page. Sorry. My wife is just texting me about bills. I don't want to know. I'm painting. It's all good. All good. What was it about this particular photo of Chadwick that inspired me to want to pick up the paintbrush? I mean, I think he I guess it was a twofold kind of reasoning. I first kind of came to the idea of him cast as Artur Hawkwing. That was kind of the first piece. And then I was like trying to just find I guess I was kind of thinking about like that character, like what do I imagine him like. I guess there's a number of layers. What do I imagine him like? What am I going to be doing with the piece, which in terms of format, right? So this is a fairly the dimensions of this canvas, the paper, kind of determined sort of what I could get on to the image area. So there's sort of those considerations. And then I don't know, I just felt like this photo of him is really direct. It's very like direct. He's like really engaging with the viewer. I think it's from some kind of like fashion shoot or something like that. But regardless of the original sort of intention of the piece, I felt like it kind of just spoke. I don't know, he just seems to me like such an inspiring person, how he coped with everything that he went through, and all the stuff that he's done in his career, and it's very inspirational. And he seems, knowing all that stuff, he kind of comes across to me as like almost like no nonsense, and confident. And so I felt like this photo speaks that kind of thing to me, which I feel is in line with how I imagine Hawkwing being. Kind of almost like a level of irrational confidence, but not like egotistical, but just very self-assured. So that was kind of, I don't know, I guess I felt like that was sort of what was coming through the photo for me, and I thought would make good source material depicting this character. I do, Grandel, I in thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I honestly think he would have been like such a perfect casting for that role. I really do. I think he would have been awesome. He's got like all of the pieces, the physique, the sort of regalness that he can carry himself. Yeah, it's sad. I was sad when I heard about his passing, for sure. I think a lot of people were kind of hit by it, and it's probably also partly in context of the world right now. Everything is just out of control. It's just another like thing, right? Where it's like, oh, really? Thanks. I'm really hoping to bring this to a good spot where all those things are really conveyed. So I'm glad it's kind of coming across. One of the things that I've found challenging with this piece and the other one that I did of Henry Cavill is like depicting like little folds in skin in the face. So in his case, his eyes, he's got these like magnificent kind of like upper eyelids, and it's awesome. But I'm like, oh, it leaves these little like intricate like beautiful little details that are like really nitty gritty and kind of hard for me to depict. And I had the same thing with Henry Cavill with his forehead. I talked about it on the live stream a little bit. His forehead, he's got that like very like suave forehead wrinkle where you just sort of like wow, that's a good wrinkle you got going on there, dude. Smoldering. But it's like, I think maybe because of the acrylic medium, it's challenging to depict it with this medium. Get those little tiny like fold details. That might be something I kind of have to just sort of rework until I'm happy with it, to be honest. But it's kind of funny. Because it's like the light catches in very interesting ways on those parts of their face. And trying to get that across is interesting. And because this is such a small piece, it takes a lot of hand control, which is something I've noticed I struggle a little bit with. I am no Doctor Strange surgeon, pre-accident. I have another ponderance to bounce off of you guys. What do you think, or what do you expect or anticipate, I guess, in regards to growth in the fandom around Wheel of Time after the TV show comes out? Like, what do you think it's going to be? Is there going to be like a divide between book fans and TV fans, or is it going to sort of like, are they going to merge together, or is there going to be some kind of like division in terms of camps almost? I never really was a fan. I never read the Game of Thrones. I started to read them, and then I started to watch the shows, and I never really did either of them. I kind of like gave up on both. But I'm curious, I don't know, so I don't know kind of how the show affected that franchise or like fandom, I guess. But I'm curious, what do you guys think or expect? I'm always like hopeful that it pushes people to read the books more. And I imagine it, for some people, it probably does. Having a show like this come out, I imagine there's like a spike in book sales. But maybe not right away, like maybe after the series is done or something. Because I think people probably wouldn't want to be spoiled on stuff. Nameless and Dusty Wheel. Hey Lauren. Wrong channel. Yeah. How's it going, man? Good to have you here. I apologize. I've been apologizing to everybody for my scattered. But you know what? I'm an artist. I can do whatever I want. That's how it is. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be an instant mix of things either. I feel like it'll take some time, honestly, for people to adopt, to like gravitate from show to book. I don't know. I don't feel like it would be instantaneous. I should tell my wife that I'm an artist and I can do whatever I want. Use that. Getting into dangerous territory. So Lauren, I think you weren't here yet when I asked the question, but I've been kind of asking some questions. So my last question was, do you think like what do you anticipate the effect of the show will be on fandom? Do you think that there will be like camps that appear between book fans and TV fans, or do you think there will be a crossover? What do you think? Do you think that the TV fandom will start reading books sooner, later, not at all, mix? Just kind of curious, like what effect is this going to have on the Wheel of Time fandom as a entity? Yeah, that probably is true. If the show is really good, it will have more of a positive effect in general. If it's really, really bad, maybe that'll have a negative effect on book sales and stuff. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about Chadwick Boseman and his death, and like I was kind of just mentioning a little bit about like my kind of rationale, I guess, or reasoning for casting him as Artur Hawkwing. His passing definitely impacted me, and I was just saying like he was so kind of blows my mind how like he just kept to himself about it. It's crazy. Pretty crazy. I can concur around that. The fandom is amazing. Like everybody's been so kind and generous and welcoming and warm. And yeah, probably we get a strange mix after that, which potentially means we lose that. That's true. Maybe. And then like just kind of have to, those of us that are sort of here already will you just kind of have to make a more of an effort, I guess, to maintain that history, I guess. Right? Alright, I need to put some darks on that side. Fairly happy with how this is coming along here. I'm probably going to work till 2:30. Yeah, I am going to work till 2:30. And then I'm going to wrap it up. I hope there's a surge in book sales. I really do. That would be awesome. So I'm using acrylic paints for this little series that I'm working on. It's what I used in college, and that's what I've always used ever since high school, actually. I've never really worked in oil paints before, and so this is my comfort in terms of natural mediums. It's definitely an interesting process. It presents different benefits and drawbacks compared to digital. This brush is too soft. I can't use it. If this one would be better. That's pretty soft too. Seriously, I'm going to have to go get a couple brushes. Acrylics are a water-based medium, and they dry. Although there are now out there on the market, there's water-based oils that you can get. No, you're fine. Don't worry. You're not hijacking. You're fine. There's water-based oil paints that you can get, and I've never delved into those. But traditionally, acrylics are more of a little bit more of an immediate medium. They dry a lot faster than oil paints do. You can get extenders for them which slow the dry time and allow you to do more blending and mixing of the paints on the canvas. Oil paints are kind of like a more malleable medium, but with that you lose some of the immediacy, and you kind of lose the ability to have put something down and just have it there quickly. So there's a little bit of like a mix of value to both. It's interesting because the digital work that I do feels more like oil paints. Just a little more fluid. The acrylics are a little bit more doing this is a little more, I don't know, rigid or whatever you want to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Rigid and fluid. I think that's probably a decent way to describe it. And you can clean up, I can clean these paints with and thin them with water, so I don't have to muck around with nasty chemicals and stuff too. I think for sure one day I'm going to play around with some oil stuff. No, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I do get stressed. You missed it earlier. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out here. I'm in the middle stages of this painting, and this is always where I kind of I second guess everything I'm doing, and I feel super inadequate and ill-equipped to do stuff. This is the dark night of the soul moments with this painting, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I was saying I've done enough painting over my years to know that it's just part of the process, and if I just keep going, like just keep moving forward, eventually it'll start to come together, and I'll get to a spot where I'm like, you know what, this isn't too bad. And it's kind of already started happening for me through this session, so that's good. But I do make mistakes. The nice thing is you can just go over it, right? I mean, I've had to at times in the past sort of restart stuff. You get to a point sometimes where it's like irreconcilable. So yeah, no, this is still, I would consider this still in the middle ground of the painting. I'm not nearing completion yet. Although I will caveat that by saying, as I did on the live stream on the weekend, I am trying to I'm trying to learn how to let go a bit and let the brush strokes and stuff just let them be. And so because my tendency is to overthink and overwork stuff, so I can very easily spend way too much time reworking stuff. With acrylics, it's a little bit a little more forgiving than for example graphite, like, or pencil or charcoals, like drawing medium, because those are like, once you that builds up and those build up, and then eventually it's sort of like you can't erase and rework at a certain point. The thing with acrylics is it's just like it all becomes like plastic, and I'm just going over top and over top. So I could technically just keep reworking, but I'm making, like, part of my goal with these pieces in particular, and like getting back into this natural medium, is to push myself to let go and let the paint be. Let the brush strokes sit and tell what they need to tell, and not try to force the issue. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about some of my kind of like favorite painters these days, is that they are very, very good at like just putting stuff down and knowing when to let it go. So I'm trying to kind of learn that, I guess. Yeah, your daughter is not like, I honestly think, like, I feel like it's a real, it's a skill to learn. It's a hard skill to learn as an artist, is to like know when to let it be. And I don't know, I feel like it's an issue of confidence and self-assuredness too, to be like, like, not feel insecure about the work, because with the insecurity comes like this sort of striving. It's probably similar to a lot of things in life, honestly. It's maybe like a analogy for life, for relationships and stuff. Getting deep, but the graphic novel is still kind of hush. Like, I can't really talk a lot about it. It is coming along. It's good. It's going well. Yeah, it's been really a super positive process. Really great team. Like, amazing team. I can't even believe the luck in terms of, or whatever, blessings in terms of who I'm getting to work with, and it's crazy. It's a really, really good team, and that's like super comforting. It's interesting. Like, I'm just writing. My business partner and I are just the writers on the project, and so it's just been so like liberating writing, and then seeing the work come in from our collaborator, who is incredible, and then just the feedback from the editor and everybody else. It's in the direction there. It's been really, really good. I need to put some more paints on my canvas here. On my palette. It's kind of green in there. It's kind of a green. It's got interesting green reflected light going on down here. His nostrils. Thanks for hanging out, Grandal. It was awesome. Appreciate it. See you later. Nerdy nitty, there's like some amazing stuff that can be done with fabrics that my wife and I were at an art exhibit. We went to a gallery to see an art exhibit not too long ago, last month, and there was some fabric pieces in the gallery that were just like incredible. I was like, what is going on? The amount of intricacy and skill was mind-boggling. I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, that's one of the challenges to Inktober is motivation, because it's such a long haul. It feels, you get into the middle towards the end, it's like, oh boy, this is a lot. You start to kind of feel it. Textile. That's the proper term. Textile artists. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. My grandma was kind of a textile artist, I guess. She's a quilter. She's too old now and in a nursing home, but or extended care, whatever they call it. But she did quite a bit of quilting in her day. So my plan is to do these on Tuesdays. And I was originally planning like Tuesday evenings, but as I said, my internet life connection being such as it is, I think I'm going to revise that and do them kind of around this time on Tuesdays, sort of mid-afternoon, early afternoon in early afternoon for me. Mid-afternoon for more populated areas of the world. So let's see here. If you see me squinting my eyes, it's because you squint your eyes, it helps you view the subject in tones, kind of like it mashes the tones together a little bit so that you're not you're less inclined to try to evaluate new super minute nuances, whatever. And you can kind of just focus on blocks, on more of the kind of chunks of tone. So that's what I'm doing here, because I feel that this is not the right value on this side of his face. Then once you kind of get the blocking for the tones correct, it's easier to, the values correct, it's easier to bring the lights back up, the highlights. Get some better colors on here. Colors are all wrong now. pinky purple. Purplish pink. Mauve. Rose. Whatever it is. Too purple. That's too purple. Need some more red. Red. This might be too light. For here. Yeah, no worries. No worries, Lauren. I am concentrating. So, not really talking. My favorite matte moment, that is... I need to think about that. Let me think about it for a minute here while I try to fix what I've done here. Oh gosh, there's so many good moments with that character. Boy, oh boy. I really I just finished listening to Fires of Heaven, and I really felt like there was so much that development that he went through in that book. Yeah, that sequence that you're talking about is super cool. That is a really cool sequence of events, and it feels like very like roguish, all the stuff that goes on with him there. Really fun. As I was listening to Fires of Heaven, I was kind of like, I love in that book, like he just kind of starts to unlock and unpack his special abilities, or whatever you want to say, like his memories and all that stuff kind of start to piece together a little bit, which I really love that. And I love like his sort of first foray into leading as like a military leader. I think it's really cool. And then sort of juxtapositioned to that, or alongside that, in that book, he has this sort of like fling kind of thing going on with what's her name? No, the Shido, not the Shido, the Aiel lady who, or maybe she was a Shido. I don't know. Anyways, oh crap, what's her name? And then, anyways, she like, they have like a fling, and then she tries to kill him. She's a dark friend, right? Spoilers! Alert! Sorry if I just spoiled anything for anybody. I think Melindra, thank you, DT. Oh, freak. I literally just finished listening to that book yesterday and should have known that answer to that. That's why I said I suck so bad at trivia. I don't know what it is. I can't retain information like that. Anyways, I guess all those Emmons Field boys, they kind of have this like old-fashioned sort of like bend to them. You even see it in that book where, so again, spoilers. I am bad. I just spoil everything. I talk about stuff as if everybody knows it already. So just if you're gonna come to my channel, just that's what it is. But those like Rand just about expired because he felt he couldn't deal with Lanfear by himself. Like he couldn't do it himself because of his like he just can't hurt a woman. And then like Matt sort of experienced the same thing dealing with Melindra, right? And I don't know. There's something like, hey, she was Shido. Maybe I would have got that question right on a trivia. So, but he just can't. They just can't. Like all those dudes, Perrin too. Like they have such a hang up with that, and it's like the Aiel ladies are so freaking tough. And such warriors, and like I mean, his life was genuinely at risk when she was beating the snot out of him, and she just about stabbed him a couple times in that sequence, but he still just felt so guilty about it. And I don't know, there's very interesting character stuff for me. And some people might not like it because it feels sort of old-fashioned and whatever, but for me it was kind of interesting. But I think if I were going to pick like a favorite thing, honestly, I think it might be the Tower of Genji, or Genji, however you say it. That whole like, I mean, all of his stuff with the snakes and foxes is really, really entertaining for me. But when him and Tom and Matt and help me out. It's Jane Farstrider, right? But who is he? DT, help me out. Noel, thank you. When they're in the tower, thank you, you guys. Frick. Tom was there too, right? I'm not crazy, right? Tom was there. I love that whole thing. That was really cool. That whole sequence was super cool. Even just like, I don't know, the whole space, everything about it. It felt kind of like, feels kind of Dungeons and Dragons, I guess, like old school dungeon crawler jazz going on. And I'm in for it. I'm totally in for it. I loved it. I'm kind of anxious to see how they treat those things on screen. It could be like super terrifying and awesome, or it could be like ridiculous. The snakes and foxes could be just like cringy and like, oh boy. If they even make it into the show, I guess I should preface that. Kind of feel like they have to be, but woo, this is challenging, everybody. Painting with paints is hard. Yeah, I agree. Would be amazing if they can get that far. Yeah, it would suck if they ditched the doorways. I'm really chomping at the bit, though, to see the show. I'm feeling pretty anxious to see some more stuff. I'd love to see a trailer or something. What do you think, like, do you think that like having Lord of the Rings affects the potential success of Wheel of Time? Like, do you think it'll just like overshadow because people are familiar with it, and it'll just kind of become noise, fantasy noise that people just ignore? The paint weaves as the paint wills. And I am not a channeler. I feel like maybe I'm a wilder. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, what was the level of... I'm not super familiar, like I said before, with Game of Thrones. What was the level of exposure, fandom, or whatever prior to the TV show? Like, were the books... Did they sell... Did they have a much grander fan base than Wheel of Time does prior to the show? Well, maybe you're right. Because it's something new, maybe it'll get more attention. You might be right, Tree. Lord of the Rings has been done a lot, and it's not cute hobbits, it's like second age stuff, which I've been trying to listen to the Silmarillion. A lot of interesting stuff in there, but I feel like it's less accessible than our beloved hobbits. Hobbitses. I think Game of Thrones was easier to adapt because it had less fantastical elements. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I guess there's like in the beginning, like I believe in the beginning. I don't super know, but I feel like the beginnings of like Game of Thrones, there's more just sort of political stuff and less like creatures like Trollocs running around and stuff, right? Yeah, middle-aged drama with light fantasy. That sounds about right. Wheel of Time is... I don't know. Do you think, like... I guess it is. No, I don't know. Wheel of Time feels, to me, very, like, akin to Lord of the Rings. In terms of, like, it's the degree of fantasy stuff. I guess there's more magic in Wheel of Time. But at the start, right? Like, you have... essentially orcs with the Trollocs, and like the Black Riders are essentially Murdraw. The ability to channel pushes it, right? Because Gandalf does magic, but it's like it's not very much. And it doesn't play into the story in a big way. Whereas like the channelers, like the White Tower and everything, are a huge component of the story that you can't just sort of have as like fantastical dressing. You kind of have to get into the nuances and stuff of it, right? So I could see that being challenging. The setting to me of Wheel of Time feels grounded, like really grounded. and even the sort of like era in terms of technology and stuff, I feel like it'll feel kind of like a historical a little bit. Like I don't know, what is it, like what is Wheel of Time kind of technologically placed at, like 14th century, something like that, or 13th or 14th century, or is it more like 17th, 16th, 17th century? Oh, wait, I feel like I'm just going in circles here right now. So I think I'm going to leave his face for a bit, because sometimes it's good to just kind of step away, especially when I feel like I'm just kind of reworking, treating the same areas over and over again in different ways. That is a telltale sign to me that I'm losing clarity a little bit on what I'm trying to achieve with the part that I'm working on. Renaissance without guns, yeah, that's kind of what I've imagined it as. So I think what I'm going to do is do a little bit of work in here. Just push this forward a little bit. I've got another 10 minutes here before I cut myself off for the day. So I'm just going to dabble a little bit. So this was like about a 2-hour session, which feels not too bad. Working with traditional media doesn't have the same immediacy as working with digital. There's all the prep, planning, setup, blah 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 blah. I can't just jump into it. So I honestly think having like the streaming schedule is going to be like super helpful for me, because without it I have a tendency to lose motivation, because it's a bit of work to set everything up. I could see myself being like, ugh, do I really want to? I think I'd rather play Overwatch. And then I'll go waste an hour and a half playing Overwatch instead of painting, which has its merits, I guess, but not as fruitful. Let me see. Yeah, I feel like I made progress today. I feel like I made some progress. His face is looking a little bit more structured. What do you guys think? I don't know if you were here at the start, but you probably saw the piece before I started working on it today. How do you, as my objective audience, how do you feel about my progress today? Did we make headway? Are you happy? This is the main thing. Are you guys happy? Thanks. I'm glad you see some progress too. I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. That's awesome. One of the challenges I'm going to have is I don't, in my mock-up, I don't have like this, all this stuff down here is not like photo referenced. So it's a little bit of invention that's going to be going on based on kind of my understanding of light, which always presents ridiculous challenges, and I should make a point of not doing that. I should like figure out how to avoid that, because it historically creates a lot of headaches for me doing that. But I kind of reasoned that this is fairly simple. It's just essentially supposed to look like a white tabard, or off-white tabard that he's wearing, with some shadowing kind of down around the chest area, and golden hawk taking flight, which is his insignia on the chest. And I'm going to keep that as like a fairly non-complex element, more graphic like you see it. So I feel like I have confidence in my capacity to carry out the falsehood without the photo reference. Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. Yeah, thanks. I feel like his face is a bit more refined, which is kind of what that was like when I started today. I was like, hey, I want to try to get his face a little tighter, because once I'm content with that, I feel like everything else will come together. So oh, that's cool. Thanks, Skeeterish. That's nice to hear. Yeah. I kind of, like I said on my live stream, I do tend to work with a lot of color, and try to throw quite a bit of color into my... I didn't want to do that. One of the funny things about working with traditional media is I find myself trying to undo sometimes. Like I want to hit the undo button. I can't undo it. But what was I saying? I wanted to... Oh gosh, okay, I better stop. I've got a bunch of white paint on my palette, and so I'm just like, I'll go to use the white paint. I'm gonna throw my white paint down here. I'm gonna throw it down over here. Oh wait, that's not right. What have I done? It's too late now. Oh boy. I need to take a step back and I think hang up the brushes for the day. Yeah, swipe real books. That's pretty funny. Why isn't it advancing? Oh, I need to flip the page. Ooh. That's pretty funny. Well, thanks for joining me, Skeeterish. Thanks, Nerdy Nitty, Triax, Lauren, DT. Anybody else who didn't jump in the chat? I think that's pretty much everybody. It says 6 current viewers. I don't know who else is in here. I think I'm one of the viewers. So anyways, I appreciate you guys joining me for this session. I will do a similar session next week, probably around the same time, Tuesday. So feel free to stop in and spend some more time with me. It was great. And yeah, I feel like it made some progress. some progress. Lots left to do. My hope is I'll be able to wrap this up in 2 more sessions. So another 4 or 5 hours-ish. All right, guys. I'm going to shut down the stream here, and we'll catch up with you through Discord, social media, or whatever, or here in the future. Okay. Thanks very much.